Hello, everybody. Welcome to this webinar by Career Guide. It is on 20 New Age Careers on Technology. So, I first want to share my experience. When I was in 10th, I only knew 4 career options that were available for me. My brother was doing engineering, so that was one. My father was a chartered accountant, so commerce was the second. And my dear mother, she wanted me to become either a doctor or at least a dentist. And fourth, a friend of mine was doing psychology. So other than that, I wasn't aware of a lot of career options. But now, with so much of technology being advanced, we have 100 plus, I mean, even more career options in technology, and just with computers, you can do so much. So at the end of this session, I'm going to share with everybody an ebook that has more than 100 career options only relating to technology and computers. So I'm very excited to share that with you. Today we have two panelists with us, Shwetanshu Mahapatra and career guide and counselor Ruja Sutaria. I will welcome both of you to the panel today, and thank you for joining.
Thanks
I
for
will
having me. Thanks for having us, Pooja.
I will just give a short introduction. So Swetanshu has done BE in chemical engineering and masters in maths from BITS Pilani. He's an entrepreneur with focus on innovation and technology. He has worked across diverse industry domains from edtech and food tech to productivity, SaaS, and finance. He has also been part of multiple product hiring and fundraising life cycles at various stages of startups. He believes in continuous innovation techniques and actively helps tech startups, especially tech startups, figure out revenue channels and fundraisers. He's also a poet, author, and storyteller by passion. And Ruja is a CFP by profession, but an educator and a certified career and life skill trainer by choice. She has been a visiting faculty at various institutes teaching accountancy, finance, and tax, but her passion to train kids has put her in a totally different segment. She has over 15 years of experience in the field of education and finance. Currently, she offers counseling to kids and adults through psychometric assessment and conducts financial literacy and life skill workshops for teenagers and adults. She also conducts sessions for Rubik's Cube training, Vedic and school math, and mind games, puzzles, and skill focused activities. So I will welcome again both of you. Thank you for joining us today. Over to you, Swetanshu.
All right, thanks for having me, Pooja, here. And hi, Ruja. Great meeting you here. Thanks, everyone, for joining today in this session. When I was like Purva shared her story, when I was a kid, one of the most important aspects that was taught to us was you have got to do engineering. And I'll start with a small anecdote. And not just any engineering, but if you do computer science engineering or IT, and I'm talking way back in 2000 and the story of 2000, the early 2000s, 2002, 3, 4, around that time. If you study computer science, if you study IT, you can get a job in Infosys, you can get a job in TCS, and that was the best place to get a job then. And computer science established, if you joined computer science, essentially you are open for the likes of TCS and Infosys adopting you. And that was the entire story all the while. um, in the 1990s, when the likes of Infosys and TCS had just established their name and fame in India and had started the outsourcing, had started taking up projects from the US and European subcontinents, I mean, from the European continent, um, the inflow of projects that happened from there actually fueled the demand here for more and more people to take up computer science and information technology related and allied fields. Uh, it was something that when I was vying for what to study, that is something that I had not realized, that why this background. It was only in the environment around me that the story of someone joining Infosys um, became the talk of the town, became the talk of families, and that's where the entire environment. Then we didn't have online platforms like we have today. So the best thing that you can get some career advice from is someone who has been there, done that, and a person who joined TCS was a person who has been there, done that among families. And that's where the entire idea of joining computer science or vying for computer science um, or information technology field became very important for a lot of middle class and lower middle class families, because they saw it as a way in which the lives can be easily upgraded, and it was not wrong. That's how 20 years back, you go 20 years back, the same thing was happening with government jobs. 20 years back, if someone had a government job, bang, you're ready to get married. 20 years back, if you had a government job, the entire, because you get pension, no one can remove you from the job. um, you are essentially ready um, uh, for establishing your life. Go back another 30 years, 20, 30 years back, and you would see that if someone has a degree, a bachelor's degree in anything, maybe a bachelor's degree in commerce, bachelor's degree in arts, you are set. Now, my grandfather, during my grandfather's generation, early 1950s, 1940s, 1950s, you had a bachelor's degree in anything, you are set. Come to my father's generation, if you have a government job, you are set. Come to my generation, if you have a computer science job, you are set. And uh, this was, of course, when I'm talking way back in 2000s. Now, what we are seeing is something is changing. For a generation that is coming next, it's not just computer science alone. There is there is a inherent change in the philosophy of thinking. There is a new procedural ability that has come with with knowledge being more easily accessible, with things that you will be able to learn by not going to a college, by not having a degree also. Sometimes it has become easier. You go on codeacademy.com and you learn how to code. No one is stopping you there. You don't need a teacher there. You go to multiple of these websites. You can learn things on YouTube, on Udemy today. I've seen people who have learned uh, machine learning and data science from trainers, from artificial intelligence and machine learning trainers. And there are classmates of mine today who are some of the top machine learning and AI data science trainers, teaching thousands and thousands of students. And I asked them, but you have not learned computer science, you were an electrical engineer. It does not matter, because the availability of knowledge has become so wide and so easy. It's now easy to learn. But this does not still discount the fact that if you have a computer science degree, there's a particular structured learning that you can go through. We have a information technology or information systems. There used to be a course that used to be offered in BITS Pilani called information systems. We have a degree in information systems. There is a lot of in-depth understanding that you would have about how the software side of things connect with the hardware side of things, and how the middle layers work. So there is no dearth to what can be taught, what can be learned. When I spent my time in some of my previous roles outside of India, and visiting Chile, having stayed in Chile in South America, and having spent some time in South Korea, I came across some very interesting aspects of engineering, which was absolutely astounding for me. I ended up meeting people who did not have a computer science degree, and they were working on very core uh, in this they were working on very core problems in computer science. And I asked them, but you do not have a computer science degree, then how did you learn? It didn't matter to them, they just learned, and they learned from various online sources, they completed various courses, and they put two and two together. And that's when, and then on top of that, there was a lot of experiential learning by doing. So when the entire, so one of the examples I can give you, when the entire story of the movement of blockchain happened, um, a lot of architects, for example, I met an architect um, uh, from Spain, and this particular architect, he was so excited by the technology of blockchain. He learned how to create his own nodes, and he learned how to create his own blockchain mining system. And I asked him, but you do not know how to code, you have not studied it ever. He said that that does not stop me. Yeah, how did you learn? Various online sources and everything. I put two and two together and I learned. And this is what I created. And he showed me the video, he showed me the code. And I was absolutely surprised. In India, we have a certain unidirectional thinking. This particular unidirectional thinking happens when we select or when we are asked to select a stream. I have studied chemical engineering, and I have a master's in maths. What qualifies me to today talk about computer science? We are talking about computer science related projects. I'm not, computer science related career options. I'm not supposed to be qualified. But hey, I have, it's not because of what I have studied, but it is because of um, certain other aspects that I have come across in my life where I stayed and I coded and I learned. And I realized that in my previous startups, um, when we built products from the ground up from scratch, we built SaaS based products, we built marketplaces. There was no one to teach us. I didn't go through a course to learn how to code, but I learned how to do it by putting two and two together. And that's the way we were able to raise funds. We've now, when I go and in my present role, when I look at companies who have built technology products, I go and look into the code and I try and understand how good it is. I There are, of course, the architects understand things better, engineer, those who do it day to day understand it better, but certain understanding of code actually has helped me understand the strength of a technology product, of the strength uh, of the scalability of a startup. And it is this generalized thinking that when it mixes with some technical knowledge, it gives a lot of understanding of what is going on. So how do we do this? You can have an engineering degree in computer science, fair and great. You can learn from a lot of online courses, fair and great. You can learn from a trainer, great. You can do things by yourself. You start building a product and learn on the way, perfect. Even that can be done. When my co-founder in one of the previous companies, when we started building a product, we put a toss about who is going to do the technology, who is going to do the business development. And in this particular toss, what we realized is, uh, no, I was supposed to do the business development side of things, although I have an understanding of technology. And my co-founder, who comes from the development side, was supposed to do the technology. And he completed and he started learning and doing simultaneously. And we built a product. And eventually, he ended up becoming the director of engineering of a Y Combinator funded company, which was recently acquired by one of the largest financial organizations in the world, and he joined there as a director. Now, the reason why I'm sharing this story is it does not matter where you come from. He had a degree in electronics and instrumentation, in fact. But look at the career trajectory. He became the director of engineering of one of the of a Series A, Series B funded company, and led their entire tech stack and a group of some 120 employees, 120 engineers. Where did he learn from? He learned from, no, there was no formal coaching that was given to him. He learned it by doing. So the um, ability to learn stops no one. I had come across 3 years ago a person who was 70 years of age who had developed his own app. 70 years of age, and the person develops his own app, and it was live in the Play Store. When we look at technology, there is no stoppage to what technology, you cannot stop technology. Things are going to get innovated. There is innovation that is going to happen. There is um, there is um, there is absolutely no qualms about being stuck in a unidirectional way. In India, what happens is some of this thought is put in us to think unidirectionally. There is a and some of the institutions in India, like the IIMs, some of the institutions in India, like some of the B schools, they help channelize you, or having interacted with some great mentors, it helps channelize that unidirectional thinking into a multi-dimensional career. One of my mentors, by the name, who was a professor at IIM Ahmedabad, by the name of Sunil Handa, he used to always tell us that you might not have studied something, but but that does not stop you from doing something. You might not have studied something, still it will not stop you from doing something. You can definitely have a career in computer science or computer science and allied fields, IT allied fields, in any field whatsoever, if you are persistent in learning. There are some particular fields it would be very difficult to enter. For example, I'm quoting from one of my interactions with a scientist from Tata Institute of Fundamental Research. When he came to know that I'm going to study mathematics, he told me, "Hey, look, mathematics and computer science are things that you can learn easily. What you need a teacher to teach you are things like biological sciences, um, chemistry, in-depth chemistry, for example, in-depth bioengineering. These are some of the aspects that you will need someone to teach you. Although even that is becoming flatter and flatter, and you can learn a lot of things by doing, but still you would need some learning in some institution and some laboratory facility for you to learn. But other modern age career options that relates to computer science and mathematics or information technology, you can learn these things in a lot of different ways. So uh, so there is no age limit right now to what you can learn, how you can learn. It's all open and wide. The question is why what is the outcome? Can I get a job? Because that is one of the drivers. I need the security, I need the job. When I look at my friends who are from Europe, they do not pursue learning from the from the perspective of getting a job, but from the perspective of satisfaction of doing something. But in India, because of the economic pyramid, Indian uh, um, economy is in a pyramidal structure. Having a job gives a security. We call it the Maslow's pyramid of needs, and job security comes as one of the most important needs, and after that you can go and search for happiness. In Europe, it's a slightly works in a different way. They look for happiness first. So let us come back to India, about what we can do in Indian context. In India, if you get a job, it is easy, your life is set. But not anymore. You need not learn, you need not have gone through a lot of things. Like, for example, right now, if you go to the likes of Google, Microsoft, I think there are 3 more organizations. They do not need you to have a degree. You do not need to have a degree in order to get a job interview at that company. At Google, Microsoft, they have come forward with this, and they say that you don't need a degree. You need to have learned these things. You can learn it from anywhere, does not matter. One of the anecdotes that I had learned is in MIT, in US, Howard and MIT are one of the top institutes. Anyways, in MIT, there was a student who did not have any degree, and he had written code and he had built some application. And I'm talking about the story some 20-30 years back. This story happened. All he did, 1980s, I think that's this story happened. All he did was he printed the code that he had written and he sent it to one of the professors and said that, look, I have written this, I don't have a degree, will you admit to your institute? And he got an admission. These are some of the strange stories that we have heard. We don't hear these stories in India, but there are still some in the outliers that exist. So when it comes to learning, let no one stop you from learning. Now we will come down to, which is the one of the most important agenda of today's call, is what are the career options. There are multiple career options, and one of the aspects that I wanted to impress upon everyone is, just because you study something is not is not why you get something. You can get something without studying that also, but without formally studying that also. So what are the career options? Let us talk about a few modern age career options. And because it is limited to computer science today, I'm going to try and not go much around, but focus more on computer science and information technology related fields. Although this discussion can open on anything starting from psychology to electrical engineering or renewable energy. So let us consider first what happens. Let us talk about data related, anything that has got to data. Big data. Big data engineering is one of the most vying career options, because the requirement of it has just exploded at the moment. So machine learning, artificial intelligence, data science are and blockchain, add to that blockchain right now. These are what we call as web 4.0 technologies, and some also consider this as web 3, some consider this as web 4. So this is the future. This is where the future is. So data science, machine learning, artificial intelligence, and blockchain. Beyond blockchain now, uh, beyond blockchain, what we tend to find right now, of course, each of these have a hardware aspect and a software aspect. Especially blockchain has a hardware aspect to it, has a software aspect to it. There is the building of what we call as decentralized apps, d-apps we call them. That is one aspect of it. The other aspect of it relates to blockchain research, that relates to setting up nodes, using your computer or your phone as a node in order to get something done, in order to set up a network. The understanding of cryptocurrencies, the understanding of different blockchain networks, different chains, rather to say, online online chains and offline chains, and then there are hybrid chains. Understanding of this and the ability to build something like this becomes a very critical aspect of the software layer, which is the decentralized apps, or which relate to particular aspects of end user interfacing. um, the data being stored in blockchain, which is the hardware layer, and there is the middleware that connects between the two. So the ability to understand how to set up the hardware, and the ability to understand how to create interfaces that can interact with the end user, both of them are aspects of blockchain rather. And there are engineers that are required in both the sides, those who can develop dapps, those who can understand the chain and understand the middleware integration, and someone who can build the hardware part of it. So when it comes to blockchain, all these three aspects of them are prevalent for as career options. When it comes to machine learning, now there is a very interesting aspect of machine learning is more on the from the perspective of you know from the perspective of software. There is less of hardware, or so to say. but the ability to understand how hardware behaves. um, when you write a machine learning algorithm, the fundamental learning of how what happens on the hardware layer when you write a machine learning algorithm is actually something that can help you to write better, help you to understand how to do things in a better way. So there is a hardware aspect, there is a server, rather to say hardware aspect, I would say a server aspect of it also. Understanding of managing of servers. So once we come to servers, we are talking about Amazon AWS, we're talking about S3, we are talking about how instances are run, um, um, EC2 instances are run. There are multiple web server management itself becomes a very important aspect, a very important challenge. Optimization of that, because these are server costs. Server costs come into, startups rake into huge bills that runs into even millions of dollars. So server management becomes a important aspect. Then related to server management, there is database management, there is optimization. These are all various career options again. There's testing. There are all various career options related to, again, this particular field. So we started with blockchain. We talked about a little bit about machine learning and how this is directly related to management of servers. Now when it comes to management of servers, I'll tell you, there is something interesting that happened a few years ago. The likes of AWS, Amazon AWS, or the likes of Rackspace, Google Cloud, Microsoft Cloud, they were not there. There used to be actual hardware in the office of those who wanted to host a website, and that used to become very hot. So one of my friends, who is a design engineer from Stanford, he created he created patented technologies that allows for better dissipation of heat, because fans are continuously running in this server setup. So while these fans are continuously running, there is a heat that is being dissipated. So he essentially wrote the code that optimizes how what doors open up and how the heat dissipation is done, so that the server can work in a better way. And before that, he interned at GE, which is one of the finest companies in the world. And at GE, he wrote code that helped, and he's a mechanical engineer, by the way. He wrote code that allowed optimization of hardware resources. So when you move away from computers and when you move away from the software end layers and you come down, you will come down to the coding in hardware layers. And coding in hardware layers is a completely different game. So those who study computer science per se, they learn how the hardware and the software are integrated through the middleware. And those who do not, those who do not have an understanding on the hardware side, on the machine side of things, they learn frameworks, what we call as frameworks. So frameworks are Django, Python, Node.js. These are all multiple different end usage languages, end user languages and frameworks, on top of which you can build applications. But the understanding what happens at the ground level, at the bottom level, on the hardware level, gives you much more confidence about learning how processes are run. So the code that you will write is also optimized. So I have met a couple of code artists in my life. One in Seoul and one here in Bangalore, in fact. So these code artists write code as if it is poetry. And that is because they understand how at the machine level layer, things work. So there are code reviewers. There is a very interesting coming up field. It's called a code reviewer. You know what a code reviewer does? You as a startup has outsourced your technology processes to a third party. And you do not have a technology guy in your company. You cannot spend on him. You cannot have a full-time CTO. So what this code reviewer does is he just reviews that the third party company who is writing your code, building your product, is writing it properly. They are indenting and they are writing the correct statements. They are explaining everything in the code, so that when you have the money to hire someone full time, it can be handed over. This is the work of a code reviewer. No one knew that a career option like this existed, a code reviewer, but it does. And there are freelancers today who do code review and get paid really, really well. They go through the code that is written by others and say that yes, this code is great. This has certain value, and this is certain standards. And when I came across code reviewers for the first time in my life, I knew that there was an existing problem. But when I came across them, I was surprised that a career option can be built out of something like this. So there is a lot of data related fields. There are data scientists, there are data engineers. Data scientists can data scientists and even analytics, for example, right? So I'll give you a small example. There is a large company in India called Musicman. There are Dunhamby. There are a few analytics companies. Nielsen is an analytics company as well. Market research and analytics company. They hire people who they teach, who they first they go through this 6 months to 1 year of rigorous training. These guys do not know anything. They go to campus and they hire 100 and 120 people who have some basic knowledge of logic. That's it. Bring them, train them for 6 months to 1 year, and by the time this 1 year finishes, these guys are ready. Then they know how to code, and they are particular taught in particular packages. So what these guys do, how to create um, uh, information that can be consumed and that can be used by stakeholders out of large data sets. So we are still not going towards big data, but before big data, there is analytics, and there is the ability to understand how you can extract data out of analytics. Not even big data. Big data is a completely different ball game. I'm talking about analytics at the moment. From analytics itself, how can you extract the data? How can you write the necessary code to extract that data using Python? That's a great skill to have. There are great career options that are there right now in that same field. There are some interesting companies like DataWeave, Sociometric. These were never heard of companies. They take large sets of data that are published by the government, and they do analysis on top of that, and they give those knowledge to private players to build insurance, particular insurance based products or wealth related products. They create out of the data that is created out of this data sets. And who is there a defined engineering profession that does that? No, these are entrepreneurs who have done this. They learned where to use, what to use, and that's where they have learned. So what I'm trying to impress is the ability to do something defines the role, and the role does not define what you should essentially learn. So you should always keep your eyes and ears open about the type of problem that you need to solve, and understand how you can solve this, rather than always vying for, if I learn this I will get a job. Try to solve a problem, and that way, if you see a problem, if you see a more continuously happening problem, then there is a great opportunity there. And so we discussed a little bit about data. We discussed a little bit about cloud related infrastructure and cloud management related aspects. Previously there used to be large servers. Right now those servers, you can manage those servers just by just from an interface on your computer, rather than going and changing something in the server. So optimization of server resources, for example. And so right now there are data centers in Europe, in India as well, in US, in some of the cold countries where you do not need a lot of cooling, where these data centers, there are actual people who go and change, or there are automated robots who go and change certain hardware features that optimize. So there's someone, you need someone to write the code there as well, right? So there are a lot of options related to that. So there is machine learning. There is machine learning that relates to particular various different fields. There are machine learning that relates to solving a something like a unheard of problem. Let me give you an example. Supposing you find that the pricing of a particular product varies on 10 different features, but you do not know in what combination they can tell you what the pricing of a product on Flipkart should be. So a machine learning engineer, what he does is he puts all these 10 variables puts together, and he does what is called as coefficient matching. By doing this coefficient matching, he is able to tell that in what coefficients each of these variables can finally determine what is the cost of the product and how that product is going to be, how that product should be priced. So big companies like Amazon and even Flipkart, for example, they hire data science engineers, the computer science engineers, PhDs. In fact, I had met someone who has a PhD from Stanford who was hired by Amazon just to help them in determining optimal pricing based on multiple different parameters. And this is a lot of this is the work of a engineer at the end of the day. This is work of a scientist at the end of the day. Someone who understands how to write code, to understand what the coefficients are, what those variables are that can affect. There are a lot of other aspects where we have not delved into. Stock markets, for example. There are stochastic analysis, ability to write financial models using code, stochastic models. Um, and in all of these things, you need the ability to write code. You need to have learned Python. You need to have learned a few other frameworks that will help you to write this code. And I had met a company in 2012 who were based out of Bangalore. And what they used to do is they used to say there's a lot of data, like there is a lot of data that relates to the social graph of how Facebook, LinkedIn, and all the other when we use LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, there is a lot of data points that are created that relate to our personality. It may not be uniquely identified, but there is still a lot of data. The processing of this data helps helps people identify what ads should be targeted. So how do they do that? They write a lot of code. They write a lot of models, rather to say mathematical models, that help determine what type of ads need to be shown to whom based on their activity and all these things. So this is a very common knowledge. But what this particular company in Bangalore used to do is similar to how you have a social graph. There is a stock based graph based on the movement of companies and how they are behaving. And you write code at the end of the day, you write models at the end of the day that can predict what is going to be the next go of the stocks, whether it is going to increase or decrease. Some predictive analysis was being done. You need to write code at the end of the day in order to do this predictive analysis. So when it comes to stock markets, there is a lot of work it has a lot of money as well. So analysts are hired in big firms who do this deep technical analysis. And this is something that we sometimes forget, that there is a possibility of doing things here. So those who have some interest in finance, move into and have a background of computer science or interest in computer science, goes to some of these type of fields as well. So then we have artificial intelligence, voice based recognition, natural language processing units. So there is a lot of artificial intelligence, machine learning that is needed in each of these. We discussed about blockchain, of course. Then if we come down to more easier and already known career options, of course, a software developer, a mobile apps developer. But there is something more interesting that has come up as a layer on top of this. So there are platforms like Bubble, where you don't need to have learned coding in order to build something. You can build a complete full-fledged app by not knowing how to code, but just by putting together drag and drop features and selecting from a drop down. You can actually build a working product. You need not know how to code. You need not hire anyone. So there are companies that are trying to build a meta layer on top of these frameworks that can help you as well. Then there are so these are some of the more new age career options that are emerging. Google Docs and Google Drive is going to be replaced by the likes of Notion, for example. Notion has become a fantastic software where you can write down things and then you can connect them internally. You can also write scripts and add them as add-ons and connect multiple pages. You don't need to know how to build a website anymore. You can do things on top of Notion itself. Similarly, there are companies like Airtable, on top of which you can write scripts and this is essentially, the grandfather. Now it's so much more powerful. It is better than using a spreadsheet or an Excel sheet. It's Excel sheets on steroids, for example. So there are a lot of if, even if you use Excel sheets and you write macros, or you use Google Sheets and you write scripts, um, even there's some knowledge of ability to write formula, ability to write some code is going to help you. So even if you do not see computer science as a career option, understanding of code, understanding and that confidence to write code is very, very important. It is that confidence that is going to allow you to navigate your methodology through whatever you love and automate processes. Once you start automating processes, that is where the real innovation is. That is where you are going to make a difference. So of course there are career options in various fields, but um, there is no stoppage to what you can do and what you should be doing. So there are, of course, there are network related, there's security related fields where there is ethical hacking, there is there is those who analyze the security of various government websites, private websites, security. There are very sign type of companies, very soft type of companies who hire security analysts to try and break some existing products. Sometimes they hire these guys to write patches on top of operating software or on top of their middle layers that get integrated into products, and which gives a more secure environment for someone not to step in. There is network administrator, there is the analysts and designers who do these things. System, when it comes to particular system related fields, you have system analysts who look at the overall functioning, the optimization. Then there are, of course, quality assurance people, those who look at software testing. Software testing sounds like very easy, but it's not. I know in Bangalore there are a lot of companies that hire software testers, and they hire them to check out the UI UX. But that's not the only function of software testers. There is a lot of automation that a software tester can learn and do, and automate a lot of processes. So the way some certain job roles are projected, sometimes they go much in depth when it comes to the actual knowledge that you need to have in order to do a role properly. So after that, of course, we have discussed about the security related um, fields and automation related things. There are, of course, robotics engineers. Right now there is a company in India which is called by the name of Gray Orange Robotics, and Gray Orange Robotics has actual robots that are used by the likes of Amazon and Flipkart, who, the moment you place an order on Amazon, automatically a robot will go and pick up the respective item from the warehouse and go and put it on a assembly, put it on a dispatch line. This entire process is automated in certain warehouses, and it has the ability to actually lift up, take and place. Who writes code for doing things like this? These are the guys who built this company. Used to have a company called Acure, which was it was a fun robotics company. They had built robotics for fun. There were a bunch of college kids, and they were doing it for fun, and from that fun the entire business idea came. They started writing code, they started building actual robots, and right now they're going to be an unicorn soon. They've built one of the most innovative companies from India. So it all started with participating in some technology festivals by building a robot that would go and fight, and from there this entire history, a unicorn is emerging from there. So there is no activity that you can say that, oh, this activity is good or this activity is bad or this activity is not going to lead somewhere. Everything is a stepping stone to where you want to be. Today, if you think that I will become a robotics engineer, there might be a lot of thoughts that will come to your mind. What will I do by becoming a robotics engineer too? Do small activities, write and build an app somewhere, build a robot somewhere, create an automation, write a script on a Google Docs, um, use a automate, build a small software, small hardware come software through which you can remote control the fan in your house, for example. There are these small aspects like this that build up the temperament to learn, and this temperament is the one that is most important, that can lead you to that can lead you to choose which of these careers you like the most. And of course, at the end of this talk, we will share the list of the careers that we have put together, but there is much more even beyond that. But you should not look at this career and decide that, oh, this is what I want to be. Oh yeah, you can do that, you can of course do that, but the temperament, building the temperament is the most important aspect. Writing code to automate something and taking pleasure in that. Build a small app when someone orders something, using your app for your own locality, for your own home, for your own apartment complex. Write something that eases someone to do something. The temperament to do this, and the outcome of this is going to make you happy and make you move forward in a particular, in one of these career options, and you will know what that is then. And of course, you can always, based on in various, we have various psychometric tests and all, through which we help you understand where is it that you will fit in better. But when it comes to end career options, there is just no stoppage to what you can be. You can do anything that you like, especially when it comes to computer science and information technology related fields. And this is the message that should be given to the new generation, the upcoming generation, that there is no stoppage and they can learn anytime, anywhere. Even if I am a 70 years old guy, I should be able to learn. There is no stoppage to that. Right now, the likes of Udemy, the likes of YouTube have made that possible. So so this is this is the message with which I wanted to participate in this call today, that um, uh, when it comes to career, don't be unidirectional. Think in a multi-directional way. Think about multiple possibilities. Don't be constrained by what you have been taught or what you have learned or what is it today, but be very open and um, uh, be trying of new things, and that is where you will find the fit. So that's all I wanted to share, but if there are questions, I'm happy to take them as well. Purva, over to you.
Thank you. Yes, thank you. Thank you, Swetanshu. And such a important message that you've given in the end, because I mean, there are people who take who choose career paths and then they just don't know what to do. Like even I started doing CA and I haven't completed, and I was stuck and I didn't know what further could be done. So thank you so much, Swetanshu. We'll take question and answers at the end of the session once Ruja's session is over. So if anybody has questions, please feel free to drop it on the chat box, or we can take it live at the end of the session. Over to you, Ruja.
Okay. Hello, that was a lovely informative session by Mr. Swetanshu. Thank you so much. Well, taking further, now at the end he said what or which is the right career for you. How do you decide that? You explore your options. Yes, you explore your options, but do you have the aptitude for that? Are you in for it? Would you be able to do that? So that would be decided with the help of a psychometric test. It will help you to choose the, I wouldn't say the best, but yeah, the most appropriate career path, because you could be good at multiple things, right? It doesn't mean that you are good at one thing, you're good at another. You could be good at multiple things. So it more than one career is appropriate for you. But then ultimately, of course, you are the decision maker. You have to decide for yourself. So now, before I explain a bit about psychometric test, I would like to tell you that we have an ebook which gives details of 100 plus careers in technology. So, of course, we can't discuss 100 plus careers in one and a half hours. So we're giving you ebook, and then we will share the link with you. I will, once I am done with the psychometric explanation, I will show you the list of the new age careers in technology, and we will share the ebook with you at the end. So now coming to psychometric test, how does it help you? Okay, psychometric test, it's a measurement of your mind. So taking care of your attitude, of your interest, your personality, it takes off many such parameters so that the appropriate career is suggested. Now, let me share my screen with you. Okay. So, if we visit CareerGuide.com, okay, let me know once the screen is visible to you. Yeah, I think it is, yes. Okay, yeah. So once we visit the website CareerGuide.com, we have many psychometric tests available. So here, ideal career test, which shows the best 3 options of any individual. Then we have the stream selector, most appropriate for the grade 8, 9, 10, when you are not even, you're not even sure whether you want to take up commerce, whether you want to take up science or humanities. So this is the stream selector test for the grade 8, 9, 10 students. Ideal career test will show you the top 3 options. It is for anyone, even a graduate can take the test, or an 11th, 12th, even a 9th grader can take the test. Then engineering branch selector. This is the test when Shwetanshu discussed about engineering, computer engineer. There are so many branches in engineering, right? You decide to be an engineer, but which one is the right stream for you? Maybe you thinking of mechanical, you may be thinking of computers, it could be anything, civil, but as per your aptitude, as per your interest, which one you're not able to decide. So in that, engineering branch selector test would help you. Then we also have the humanities career, and of course, we're not going into that because we are discussing about technology. And the latest one is for anyone, which is the skill and learning test, which gives you an idea about your skills, cognitive, intrapersonal, interpersonal. So let me share some tests with you, the sample report, so that you get an idea. Just okay. So first, I will start with the engineering branch selector test. Okay, so here, once you decide to go for engineering, okay, here you have the best options for you. Biology, constructional, flying, mechanics, all these software. So all the options are given to you, where these are the best for you and these are not very good for you. So here the list is given, which one is the best one for you. So this is the engineering branch selector test, where the scoring is given so that you can decide that you are suitable for this kind of branch of engineering, like application to biology. So what is included in that? We have that related to construction, civil, architects, whatever it is. So we have a list of all the branches of engineering, and we match it with your aptitude and suggest the best ones for you. Coming to the stream selector test. Okay, coming to the stream selector test. Suppose you were not very sure whether you want to go for science, commerce, or humanities. CareerGuide has this psychometric tests available which suggest the best options for you. Commerce, humanities, science with maths, that is PCM, or PCB, science with biology. Now coming here, if you see, right, commerce is the best, humanities, science, and bio. If you see this part, aptitude for commerce and science math is almost the same, but science with maths is not the best option. What is the reason? What is the reason? See, the second part is interest. If you see the interest level over here, aptitude is high in commerce, in science with maths, but interest level is high for commerce as compared to science with maths. So here, humanities, if you see, the aptitude is much lower, but still it ranks second. Okay, why? The interest level is high. As a counselor, we believe that if you have the interest, okay, if you have the interest, we would still suggest the career for you. The only reason, aptitude, maybe the skills necessary for that particular subject can be gathered, right? You can learn that, you can learn the skills, right? So here, if you are interested, skill level is low, aptitude is low, still also it fares better than something where you have aptitude but no interest. Just imagine yourself becoming a computer engineer or a data scientist. Okay, you have the aptitude, but you're not interested in that. Okay, how can you survive the rest of your life doing something which you're not interested in? Like Mr. Swetanshu said, research analyst. Okay, when you're talking of research analyst, everywhere, technology is required everywhere. But when you are talking about research analyst versus some mathematics or science where you are playing with numbers, even research analyst is playing with numbers. But you need logical, you need numerical ability. The abilities required more or less are similar. I wouldn't say the same, but similar. But my interest level is more towards analysis, towards research. How am I going to survive being an engineer? Career, when you are choosing the career, we have to take into consideration everything. It's not just whether you can do it. Yes, you can do it, but are you interested in it? Does your personality suit that career, right? So here, talking about imaginative, creative, if I am a web designer, okay, I need to be imaginative. I need to be, I can't even think. I can't even imagine things. How am I going to be good at designing something where I'm not that creative? So here, interest, aptitude are matched and the best streams are selected. This is for grade 8, 9, 10. So high aptitude, high interest, low aptitude, high interest, still we would suggest it as an option. Science with maths, high aptitude, low interest, not very ideal. Of course, science with bio is again low interest, so we wouldn't suggest that. So next comes the ideal career test, which is suitable to anyone, any person can take this test. Here, it's a 12-page report. So this is the ideal career test. If you see the top 3 ideal careers, law and order, media and entertainment, designing and art. So which are the career options? Okay, law and order. You will have so many options. Media and entertainment, so many options for media and entertainment. It could be a audio video technologist, it could be a choreographer, animator, graphic designer. So many of these careers, we need technology. They are all the technology careers, designing and art. So here, which are the careers covered in that? And how do we derive, how do the career options are suggested? If you see career motivators, what motivates you? What motivates you? Okay, It could be money, it could be creativity, challenge, it could be anything. So your top motivators: interest, respect, stability. This is just a sample report. It would differ from, of course, person to person, but this is just an idea. So career motivator, if you see stability, you want a stable job, you want that security. Then when you say you want some security, stability, for you, doing maybe opening a startup or taking, being an entrepreneur won't be an option. You want that security, you want that stability. So obviously a job which gives you stability, security would be much more ideal. So variety, respect, challenge, internal, so these are the career motivators. One of the parameters for suggesting the top 3 careers: aptitudes. Aptitude: numerical aptitude, spatial, your skills and abilities, critical, verbal aptitude. So this is one of the most important things, where your aptitude is measured and then the career is suggested. The best 3 options: aptitude, interest. What are you interested? Okay. Enterprising, artistic, social. You are a people's person. Social skills are quite high. What would be the options? Maybe a psychologist, something dealing with people. Leadership skills are high. You are enterprising. You are artistic. Creativity. You could be an architect. You could be a designer. It could be anything. So here, interest, then the personality. What kind of personality? You're outgoing, you're introvert, you are observant, you are judging. So based on your personality, the top 3 ideal careers are selected. So this, when you say the top 3 careers, there are certain parameters which are taken into consideration when you take the test, and they are suggested accordingly. Okay, then the latest one which I wanted to discuss is for anyone. Okay, the skills and learning test. Today in this digital world, in this technological world, we know that skills, what kind of skills? Digital skills, cognitive, interpersonal, intrapersonal, they are very important. So how do we know that, where we stand? So this is the report. This is the report where you take the test and your skills are measured. So if you see cognitive, what is included in cognitive? Problem solving, critical thinking, decision making. Digital, how sorry, how well you are with the technology, information literacy, media literacy, communications technology, etc. Intrapersonal, persistence, initiative, resilience, empathy. Interpersonal, okay, leadership, collaboration, adaptability, how well you can adapt yourself to the environment, to the changing environment, to something particular. So how well you can do that, how well you can communicate what you wish to express, communication, leadership. So these are the skills which are measured, and the report is in front of you. So you can see here, this is a sample report. So interpersonal skills, intrapersonal skills, cognitive and digital. So here, I would suggest, if you are taking this test for students, maybe in 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, this should be done on a yearly basis. So if you think that, some communication skills are low, enroll your child for a communication skills program, public speaking, it could be anything, and see after a 1 year, what is the improvement. So this way you will actually know that where you lack, where you want to be, where you have to be. So this is the way, since we all know that, learning is a continuous process. So the more you learn, obviously, the more you're going to grow, you're more going to develop. So that way, you will definitely come to know where you stand now, maybe after a year, once you have taken a course on communication, on leadership skills. And after that, Have you improved or not? So this is one report where skills are measured. So decision making, problem solving, critical thinking, curiosity, digital skills, media literacy, information communications, internet. How were you familiar with the digital world, which is very, very important in today's technological world, I would say. Interpersonal skills, so collaboration. Some people are very, would like to work only independently. They cannot work with others. Okay, leadership, flexibility, communication. So here, collaboration, activity of working together in a group with other people. If I'm I cannot be, work with a team. I would prefer working independently. So in that case, it would be difficult for me when a group work is required. So that is how, how you can improve on. There are ways to improve your skills. So intrapersonal, empathy, resilience, initiative, persistence. And the last, which have interpersonal, and so I think I missed interpersonal. So okay. So this is interpersonal and this is intrapersonal. Empathy. What is empathy? Put yourself in others' shoes. Resilience, ability to overcome the bad times and go ahead, move ahead. Initiative and persistence. So this is about it. Any questions regarding the psychometric test? Okay, so in that case, I would like to share the ebook. We will be sharing it. The link will be shared. So this is the ebook which you will all receive, which gives you almost 100 plus careers in the new age technology. Okay, so Mr. Swetanshu has discussed a few, but of course we can't discuss all these careers, but yes, so I'm just giving you a glimpse of it. You will all receive this ebook. Big data engineer, data centers, applied data scientist. I'm just going through as it is, you're going to receive this. Data engineer and data architect. When you know architect, obviously what does it, architect is more with designing, and also data architect, data warehouse specialist. So cloud related. So we have the cloud engineers and all. So it is all bifurcated. Machine learning, artificial intelligence, today artificial intelligence is the in thing. Everyone is talking about artificial intelligence. So what are the careers in artificial intelligence? Blockchain. So mobile related, Android, iOS, mobile developer. Network related, system related. So you have the system administrator, analyst, quality assurance engineer, very, very important, software testers, IT security, so forensic investigators, cyber security, programming, you will have the developers and all, IT consultant. Automation, we talked about robotics and also robots and also robotics engineering, automation engineering, support function. So we have the careers in that. Okay, so here have to get there. So obviously, first thing, psychometric test assessment would help you to, decide what is the best option for you, how to get there. You explore the courses. Either it could be through engineering, could be through BCA, it could be through a proper career course, or you also have so many certificate courses which you could take. So that is about all these new age technology careers. Okay, so I have any questions regarding the psychometric test and assessment? I have a few.
Dr. Lakshita, I think please unmute and you can ask your question.
Yes.
It'll be easier. And I am sharing the link for the ebook in the chat. Please click on the link and you can download the ebook from there. Yeah, go ahead, Dr. Lakshita.
Yeah. Hello, Ms. Sutaria. Hello,
Hello.
Selector. Yeah, it was very good to be the part of this quite insightful webinar. And with the two different experts sharing across your experiential knowledge, it has actually struck the chords in my mind that currently I'm dealing with two different kind of set of people. And one is, yes, definitely from the school background, and the other ones are the working professionals. So no, it is just the extreme, and we are acting as a bridge between the two. So my first question was that, yes, I have gone through the part of the various psychometric assessment over Career Guide. And there has been a very, a breakthrough information and a change that every student can, visualize for themselves, or any practitioner or even a professional can also go through it, that how, where, in what direction they are taking out their career. And if in case they are facing any kind of challenges, how these assessments are going to add value to their career potential. So yes, my first question was that when it comes to the 21st century skill assessment, so there has been, a kind of an acceptable percentage among the parents when it comes to administering the assessment. Anyhow, we convince them to go for certain specific one, which is essential for them to get a decision over it. But now, after going through this, I found it that this is also equally important, but how we are supposed to club with the other assessment, and only with those assessments which are relevant to 21st century assessment. So this question goes to Ms. Sutaria. And for Sutanshu, the query was that I'm working with the people in finance domain, and there is a requirement that you need to require to have a certification or kind of a knowledge orientation about the blockchain technology. So how it is adding value to basing their career growth, and how much critical it is considering the current technology. Thank you.
Okay, so I'll answer your query first. Like 21st century, the skill assessment, how important, that today, apart from the academics, these skills play a very important role, right? So now both the tests, if you are taking a psychometric test for a say school student 8, 9, 10, he is obviously going further with his career 11, 12 and choosing a career. That is career selection of a career is one part. The second part, when you say the skill assessment, you could be excellent at academics, but when you see the assessment, the skill assessment test, you might not be very good with communications. You might not have leadership skills. It could be that way also, right? You are excellent at academics. So yeah, career selection you have, but your skills. So here, rather than clubbing the report, obviously the tests are different. You, the child or the working professional, even in the corporates, even for the professionals, today's world, you all know that these skills are very, very important. When now it's a global world, you're dealing with people, you're dealing with so many changes, you're dealing with so many things. So these skills, if you take the skill assessment test, okay, now you have realized that you are excellent at a few things, you are average at few things. So now what would be the ideal step for you, the next step for you? So if you want to improve, you could enroll yourself for a course, or now you know that we have communications course, even building personality development, with so many courses. So you try and enroll yourself and try to get better, because the assessment report will be just a baseline, a guide for you, so that you are aware that you are lacking in these skills. Digital skills, okay, I'm not very I'm not very good with internet. I'm not very good with media literacy. I'm not. So then I know. So what to do about it? I need either I'm okay with it or I need to improve on it. So basically, when you say a skill test report and a psychometric test assessment for the career, both are different. You can't club them. But how to go further? You can take both the tests for the students as well as the professionals.
Yes.
And yeah, so that is what both are separate things, right? So skills, you can, as a counselor, you will be guiding them that these are the skills where he or she is lacking. So if you would like to improve, do something about it. Enroll him herself for this any course available in your city. And now, since everything is today with this COVID, so many courses are available online, the worldwide courses, so you can do accordingly.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you, Sutaria.
All right, so answering the next part of question, this is a
yes, I'm waiting.
yeah. So there is a very interesting thing that is happening right now in the entire world. The world always moves towards anti-establishment.
Yes.
This is human nature. When with the moment we had the internet, there was the onion network, right?
Yeah.
The onion router, we call it, which is called Tor, which relates to the deep the dark side of the internet, or the deep internet, we call it. Let's not call the dark web, but the deep web at least. So those who are on the deep web, many of them are anarchists. They're anti-establishments. Whenever there is establishment, establishment happens over a period of time, then anti-establishment comes back to challenge the structure, the power, the thoughts. In present system of our, in present system of the governance of this world, where most of the countries are democratic countries, with US leading in a certain, in a certain aspect, US leading all the way with a strong dollar. Everything is related to how the stock markets in the US move, how the stock markets in Beijing move, for example. These define and determine the world trade scenario, about who, the structure of who is going to get the oil from the Middle East determines various aspects of trade. So we see there is a certain movement of trade and commerce that happens through these countries. When we come lower and lower down the order, at the end of the day, the consumer also faces a certain burnt of what is happening at the top level, at the policy level, at the highest tier level. Now, the ability to manage and the ability to determine how finance systems of finance work, how the central bank of the country works, and whether you should allow investments from outside the country. China does not allow a lot of investments from outside the country, but they go out and do investments. India has certain rules and regulations that relate to foreign direct investment. These are all finance related aspects at a higher policy level, which impact to the consumer at the lowest level. So you see, there is an establishment in place. Now, when blockchain came, they challenged the establishment. They said that we are going to define a currency which is so easily accessible, which is so global, that no one can claim, no one can put a border on it. And because no one can put a border on it, you cannot have power in the hands of certain people. So a lot of structure. So after no one knows who is the founder of blockchain, right? No one knows who is the founder of Bitcoin. Let's not talk about blockchain, but no one knows who is the founder of Bitcoin. So, and the guy is still anonymous. The entire idea of this was Bitcoin becoming a central currency at the end of the day, or other cryptocurrencies, whichever comes up, whichever takes over more than blockchain, or along with more than Bitcoin, or along with Bitcoin. What it is supposed to do is establish another parallel to the governments, which we call as DeFi. decentralized finance.
Yeah.
Because of this decentralized finance, the large banks like Morgan Stanley, even Facebook for that matter, big organizations like Facebook, Amazon, all of them started seeing that. Even SpaceX and Tesla, Elon Musk is one of the leading names in this. All of them started realizing that there is no stoppage to technology. So the power which was concentrated in the hands of a few politicians and senators in different countries, prime ministers in different countries, those who had oil and all this, they started seeing that those structures started breaking down, and it started becoming more and more decentralized. The power started dissipating.
Yeah.
And they realized that somewhere the finance structures that we have right now are going to slightly turn and go and merge into somewhere where both of this decentralized finance and established finance will come and meet.
Okay.
That is the reason almost all the leading companies in the world, finance, those who are in banking, those who are in finance, those who are in stocks, each of them have started building their infrastructure, their talent pool, and their experiments in decentralized finance, because they've started seeing this movement.
Okay.
Governments like Singapore have they said that, hey, we cannot let you trade cryptocurrencies at will, or we cannot let you trade a lot of things at will. Like there is the stock market, which is a regulated aspect. There are but when it comes to cryptocurrencies, there's just too much unregulation. They say that we are going to help you figure out that regulation. Somewhere both of these lines will come and intersect and meet. So the ability to importance of knowing blockchain, because blockchain is the basis of all these cryptocurrencies. It is the basis of this decentralized network.
Yeah.
Learning that a base understanding of blockchain becomes very important for anyone who is in the financial domain. So there are, of course, some people who understand how to code in blockchain. There are those who have a philosophical understanding of it, or a more of a policy level understanding of blockchain. But blockchain is not going away. It's definitely not going away anytime soon. If you look at there is a very interesting chart that is published by Gartner, which is one of the market research firms, and they talk about what are the new technologies, and like Internet of Things, there is artificial intelligence, machine learning, data science, blockchain. They call this, they give a kind of like a bell-shaped curve, and they say how these technologies go to a hype and then they come down.
Yeah.
The thing about blockchain is that cryptocurrencies, blockchain, the thing is that they are somewhere interconnected, and it's not going down anytime soon. And it is an anti-establishment that is going to stay. Previously, the internet that we use today it's used as an anti-establishment at times. Previously, in order to communicate with someone, you have to call the operator, you have to write in a mail, or you have to call up the operator and get connected. So when in the 1940s, when the Valkyrie happened in Germany, when someone tried to throw off Hitler, the power the reason why Valkyrie, the operation Valkyrie became it did not succeed, was because the two messages came to the radio station. One said that the Hitler is dead, the second said that I am the Führer and I am not dead. And the operator, what they choose to let everyone hear, determine whether Hitler is going to be there or not. So at that point of time, radio had become that anti-establishment. It had become that power through which power was controlled. Later on, the same thing became the internet, and now it has become the blockchain. So blockchain is definitely going to be there. It is definitely going to be there in almost every field, not just finance. And it is important to learn about it.
So we can foresee a bright career in blockchain for the people in finance and the other related fields.
It may not be a very apparent immediately. Immediately, it may not be apparent, but come down another 3 years, 4 years, I think it's going to be critical. at that time, those who have missed out on this bus now are going to say that, oh, we should have learned it now.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
It will become basic, like you knowing how to send an email. You will see many applications built on top of blockchain. Right now, even we just cannot see them, but there are going to be many things that are going to be written on top of blockchain. The transactions that you do in your bank, the information is going to be stored on blockchain. They're going to be stored on many online nets and offline nets. So it's going to be very critical.
Yeah. So such more similar breakthrough developments or technological impressions are going to be visible when we are talking about all these things.
There is no stoppage to technology. A few years ago, we did not know that we are going to go to Mars.
Yeah.
There is no stoppage to technology, what technology can do. There's a very interesting concept though. The scalability of the scalability, because technology determines scalability, it determines automated processes. If you are able to do 10 things today, personally, manually, you can multiply that to 1,000 things tomorrow, 10,000 things day after tomorrow by using repeatable processes. This essentially means that even though you make less money per process, you will still make a lot of money. And this is the technology enables this, and it cannot be stopped. It should not be stopped. But the only thing that we can do is learn about how it is evolving and adapt to that change. If you stay behind, you will still be going on a bullock cart, right?
Okay, thank you so much, Ritanshu, for your valuable insights, and thank you so much, Ms. Sutaria, for addressing this.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Relatable. Thank you very much.
So, any other queries?
Anybody wants to ask any questions? You can please ask.
I've dropped my LinkedIn on the chat, and if anyone would like to get in touch with me later, feel free to do so. I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have, or you can unicast me. You can send me a message there. I would be more than happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Awesome. Thank you so much. We'll end the session if nobody wants to ask anything.
Sure.
It's okay. We can take up questions later on as well if someone has.
Sure. All right. Feel free to get in touch with us. The webinar is on YouTube as well. It's live on YouTube, so you can even see it there. Yeah, I will share the link. I am sharing the YouTube link. You can watch it on YouTube as well, and you can leave your comments there as well. We'll answer it. We'll answer your questions there as well. Thank you, Sutaria and Ruja, for taking our time and
Thank you so much
for such an insightful session. Thank you, everybody, for joining in.
Have a good day, everyone.
Bye.
Have a good day. Bye-bye. Bye.
Goodbye.